Bend the Knee, a Song of Ice and Fire podcast. I am Sir Matt, the Bud Knight.
And I am Sir Ezra, the Watchful. Welcome to our Song of Ice and Fire book club. This is Follow-Up Friday, where we answer all of your ravens, your thoughts, your comments from last week's episode, chapters, the series, whatever you guys were thinking. So,
Yeah, sometimes we pull from the Facebook group, which is what we've been doing a little bit more. Just kind of respond. It's our way of kind of responding to you guys, because throughout the week sometimes Sir Ezra and I just don't have time to do so. And man, the conversations over there are just getting better and better and better. So
yeah, I think it's like we had said, it's a short way to kind of get in there and have like some back and forth on a theory, a thought, or just, you know, anything that may come up in the readings. It doesn't have to be a long, drawn out theory, although we have 2 of those today and they're awesome. And looking forward to those. So yeah, it's kind of it's nice to have both formats going, you know. So
yeah, so all right. Well, last week's trivia question was, what were the name of Tommen's cats? And the answers were Sir Pounce, Boots, and Lady Whiskers. And let me tell you, had a handful of people answer, and it was almost like immediately. But like by literally a minute, the winner was once again Lord Adam Parker.
Wow. Jiminy.
Yeah, so I know. Hey man, he is committed to the trivia.
Yes, he is.
We had like 5 or 6 people. We had like 5 or 6 people respond like almost immediately. I was like, wow, phone was blowing up.
Yeah, from the Earth Wisdom. Okay, never forget.
So, yeah, so if I know you're some people, you're like, man, this guy just wins all the time. But let me tell you, the week before, you got unseated by a new person. I believe Chris Walters is his name, who won last week, and he was super close again this week. So yeah, you never know. Sometimes we've been moving the time around a little bit, hopefully to try and get some more people in. So we call it Follow Up Friday. You just never know when it may release.
You never know.
Okay,
never know.
We
could just pounce and boom, there it goes.
Yeah. So if you have it set up to automatically download, then you'll get that notification, and you should be good to go. All right. Well, let's see here. So, Sir Ezra, there's some big ravens this week.
Yeah, there are. And we got a couple smaller ones, just some kind of housekeeping things we want to talk about first. But yeah, the ravens this week, I'm actually really excited about. So we've got one from Sam the Hammer. We've got his in there. We've got his words and an updated sigil for him. We've also got Lady Paula. She sent us a really awesome raven today, or this week, so excited to talk about that. So but yeah, I think some of this sort of housekeeping stuff that I've listed here, basically, I don't know if we mentioned this last week or not. I just threw it back in here, the idea of a possible another tier on Patreon. People are asking for it, and so
I know, so I
am thinking we might have to do that. Also, I've mentioned in the past, I think I might, maybe when we get done recording today, Sir Matt, if you remind me, we can post maybe a poll and to see if people are interested in the Discord chat rooms. So it's nice to have different, formats. I think even on Facebook sometimes you want to, make sure that you're saying things, I guess, like the right way, but or not the right way. It's just sort of, it takes an extra second, to sit down to read.
It does,
and then type out your comment. Whereas in Discord, you can literally just have an instant message chat. So there are instant messaging rooms, text chat rooms. There's also audio chat, so some of our book club members could maybe get in there and chat with each other. So if you're interested in that, just let me know, and we can definitely link that in as a pretty easy reward for our patrons. So
yeah, and we want to do, and we just got to figure out timing and all that stuff. Some like a hangout. Maybe like at some point. So
like a quarterly Q&A / hangout. So it'd be like 3 to 4 times a year. Nice fun time for people. But yeah, like you said, it's tough with all the different time zones and stuff. But we'll figure it out. So
yeah. So
okay. Let's see. Next we've got. I don't know if I just put this in here, Sir Matt. I didn't know if you wanted to answer this or not. No, we did answer this, didn't we? I think we were talking about Tanner. He was asking us about.
I don't think we actually answered this on the show.
Oh, we didn't. Okay, so
No.
Tanner was just asking us, basically, what grade do we teach? Just some questions about ourselves, and so I thought I'd throw in there kind of neat. But he asked us, yeah, what for me, Sir Ezra, what grade do you teach? And he says he's thinking about actually doing Teach for America after he graduates. And if you were wondering, I teach a bunch of high schoolers, and so. I mean, every week it's just Sass City, okay? So I love those kids. They're fantastic, and we sometimes when the show has been on, I've gotten a few kids who watch it, who their parents let them watch it. I'm like, really? Okay, cool. And so they come in and talk about the show, and that's been a lot of fun. And unfortunately, I'm not able to, I'm not able to what's the word? Like run
Respond.
a book club with
Right.
with Game of Thrones. So, but I don't know. So there's that. So, okay. Apparently my phone is vibrating. So there we go.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
Let's move that. Guys, that's what happened. Sir Ezra's, pretty popular. So I'm just blowing up here. Actually, ironically, what's blowing up is Discord. So I'm in a couple of Discord chat rooms, and so that is what is blowing up right now. That's awesome. Yeah, it's actually a lot of cool.
So it's okay. And what do you do for work, Sir Matt? Well, right now, nothing actually. I was working as a at a law firm when I was still living in Columbus, and I was doing accounting work. So I was doing the numbers, as Sir Robert would say.
Yeah.
As King Robert would say. Yeah, right. I was running the numbers. But so I quit that to move out here to Portland, and I'm just going through that whole process right now of getting a different job. I've had a handful of interviews and stuff like that. I actually have one coming up this week. Well, I will have had the interview by the time this episode
gets
published.
Yeah,
it gets published, and I feel actually pretty good about this one. So
nice.
Be working at a motorcycle store. So kind of I don't know. I'm just kind of, I just moved to, well, not to a new city for me, but, it's a new phase in life, and I'm just kind of, I don't know.
Just rolling with it.
Just rolling to have a stable master, so as sometimes you got to used to work as a stable master,
Yeah. Absolutely.
Selling some horses, two-wheeled horses.
That is awesome, actually. Yeah, that's news to me because I actually hadn't heard that one yet. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So I don't know. I've literally been just kind of checking everything out,
well, here's the thing, guys.
I never thought about doing that. Why not, so.
Let me just throw this out there. If Sir Matt and I could do this full time, we would. Okay.
Well, we would. We absolutely
100% would.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
Yeah,
the goal. Yeah.
If you want that to happen, there's a little place called Patreon where you can just go, say, hey, you know what, fellas, I think I need more of your time on this series. Why don't you dedicate your whole lives to this? That'd be fantastic.
That'd be fantastic.
But I'm actually planning a trip out there soon. I'm trying to get out west. I want to come out and kind of see what's going on. So I been planning that. I'm not sure. I'm hoping before Christmas I can come out that way, and been out there before, and it's always a lot of fun. So you've got some good friends out there and stuff. So looking forward to coming out soon. So
so I would say right now my full-time job is this. So no. I actually have some other like side work stuff I've been doing. So some social media consulting.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. If you want that, you just let me know. All right, here. Well, thank you, Tanner.
And now this next one. So, Lord Hunter the Foul-Mouthed has sent us another raven here, and I thought this was a pretty good one. This is just a quick little raven here. So it says this is a show-related raven. I would like to know what magic Lord Adam Parker uses to write such amazing, thoughtful, and researched ravens. Is it blood magic, the magic of the old gods, necromancy, or something else? I must know. And he says, P.S. Thank you, Lord Adam Parker, for the incredible ravens. So I thought that was hilarious. So, and actually, Lord Hunter, you'll be wondering the same about Lady Paula here in just a second.
Oh my
because I'm
gosh,
telling
yeah.
you, and Sam the Hammer, they're both really
Mm-hmm.
really good this week. So we're excited for this Follow Up Friday.
Yeah, if I had to take a guess, though, I might say it is Blood Magic.
That's Blood
I'm
Magic.
just
I know it is.
It is.
Yeah. So he seems like a, I mean, it's from the Earth Wisdom, and there's.
Mm-hmm.
Connection to
He's
the
definitely about
werewolves.
he's definitely about the old gods.
Yeah.
I can say that,
So
But no, I will say this. That was, this is the thing. Sometimes we get ravens from people, and Lord Anna Parker is certain. Obviously one of them. We're just like, man. Sometimes we're like, these people. There's a lot of research goes into this, and some people write some very well crafted ravens, and we love it because it's great for us because. It makes it easier on us because we talk about this all the time. Sometimes, especially Fallout Friday, sometimes it's hard for us because we're all over the place.
yeah.
It could be like Game of Thrones or Dance with Dragons, and different characters and different threads, and
Right. Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So we just kind of go with it and try our best.
Well, yeah. I mean, like we learn something each week. I think people who listen learn something each week, and it is even challenging for the listener, right? You're sort of like, oh, wait, where is that at again? Like in the series, you've got to kind of think back through and analyze, as to where it's at. So it's fun though. It's,
and it's like trivia too. Like sometimes the trivia for us is like I'm pulling stuff out and I'm like, wow, this is a character I like forgot about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Which reminds me of the trivia for this week.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it in the middle of a raven.
Let's do it.
What is the name of Jorah Mormont's wife?
Yeah.
What is the name of Jorah Mormont's wife? And the reason I brought that up is just because this, just like we're saying here with Fallout Friday, sometimes I was like, wow, I forgot about this character.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, totally forgot, she existed.
Yeah. 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 I was wondering how you thought of this, and I was like, let's not talk about it too much, but
yeah, we can't
actually
talk about it too much.
It's a character I do want to talk about though in a Fallout Friday sometime. So I will not. I will not do so now. But I'm glad we brought it up.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
let's not forget it.
Yeah, I mean, all we know about her is that she looks very similar to Daenerys.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Looks like she could, maybe looks like she could be a Targaryen.
Yeah, but I'm not so sure we know exactly where she went. And
we don't. Yeah.
Without giving,
is she Val? I'm just saying. I don't know. Yeah.
And here's the thing: I'm dancing around her name for a reason because it's against her trivia. But
right.
I do want to say I actually think there's some. It's not even just her that I'm interested in. It's her father and I believe her sister. So there's a lot there I wanted to kind of talk about at some point. So. So many. I kind of feel like Gurr sometimes. Like I have all these threads in my mind, things I want to get to. Just like, how am I gonna wrap all this up? So, but anyways, good question this week. So, okay, here we go. We ready for this?
Yep.
How about this? Do you want to do the first one, and then I've already read the second one. I'll read Lady Paula, and you can read Sir Sam the Hammer, whose words, by the way, are "the finest steel is forged in the hottest fire." So it was kind of it was kind of cool to get his words.
Oh yeah, and he
sigil.
sent us his sigil. He made his own sigil.
Yeah,
and it's super cool.
Yeah.
All right, greetings, good sirs, from your newest hedge knight. I take it Sir Matt's journey through the mountains went well. They did. Mm-hmm. They did. I made it here unscathed, and unmolested. So, that's what I was most nervous about. Sometimes you park your car in the middle of the road, not middle of the road, but, driving out.
Yep.
You're stopping at hotels you're not really sure of.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm worried about snatchings.
Yeah, you should be. Yeah. I mean, you should be. You got to be like seriously.
You should be.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy. It's
a real thing. Yeah. Real quick though, just on the title of his Raven is Dragon Name Etymology. So that was kind of important. Just wanted to mention.
Okay. All right. I have a question, a cool connection, and the start of a theory that I would like to open up to the group to see if smarter people than I can fill in missing pieces of the jigsaw. Well, I guess you should probably ask people in the group.
Yeah.
You may want to stay away from us. Okay. The names of characters is clearly significant in A Song of Ice and Fire, and none more so than those of Dany's dragons, Drogon, Viserion, and Rhaegal. Their origins are fairly obvious on the surface, but I think there is more to unpack than most people consider. The root of each name represents significant men in Dany's childhood. Reg is Rhaegal, or Rhaegar, excuse me. Viserys, he's using like the prefix here. Viserys and Drogue with Drogon. So far, so simple. But this is where I have a question. Why Rhaegar? Why not Aerys? Why not honor her father at all? Both were dead before she was born, and from Dany's point of view at the time, both were, culpable in her family's fall from power. Add in the fact that she called her son Rhaego, we can conclude that she has such a much stronger link with her brother than her father. Note the deliberate air quotes. Why? Do you know why Dany could speak High Valyrian, but Viserys couldn't? Along with the house with the red door and the lemon tree, there are lots of hints that Dany's childhood is not as simple as first presented. So on to the cool connection. Have you noticed how the two suffixes of Dany's dragons represent important men in her adult life? On, which is, he's saying Jon, Aegon, and like Ion, Tyrion. Interesting? No. Now let's assume that this was intentional on Gur's part, right? Because when she named her dragons, she hadn't met these people. So he's right. So he's saying this is like foreshadowing from Gur.
Yeah. Okay.
What does this mean? And who is the significant character's name ends like AL? I say it could mirror the root of each name. 3 influential men from the childhood and 3 influential men from adulthood. It could represent the 3 heads of the dragon or the 3 dragon riders. Or it could be a complete coincidence. Below are a couple of candidates that I've managed to come up with. Dany, he's saying AL, could just represent Dany. In English, the suffix AL means pertaining to. He's saying magic or magical, whilst in Arabic, AL in surnames means from the family of. He's saying like, i.e., Al-Salid, Rhaegal. From the family of Rhaegar, more links between those two. Or if you want to go full tinfoil or deep down the rabbit hole, as we like to say, then maybe Dany is a Dane or a Blackfire, and it points to her birth name. He's saying Grey Worm. Grey Worm is unable to share his true name with anyone who hasn't had their chestnuts roasted over an open fire. Maybe his name ends AL. The Night King. He has a dragon. We don't know his name.
Yeah.
Val. The first I heard of her was on your podcast a couple of weeks ago, but she seems a bit Targ-like, and her name would fit.
Yeah.
Jorah the Andal. Too much of a stretch, but that's the last idea I could come up with. Maybe others can come up with a better idea. I would have put this on the Facebook, but it's a bit long, so maybe you can kick off the conversation and we can carry it on over there. Sir Sam the Hammer, the finest steel is forged in the hottest fire.
Wow. Okay. Wow. That's a good one. I like that.
That's good. That is really good.
Is that intentional? Now, because we have, I think, as you pointed out, just the Rhaegar, Viserys, Drogon connection is intentional, right? So that's pretty straightforward, But it's those
and
suffixes.
correct me if I'm wrong, but Drogon. So this is show, right? Drogon is the one that Jon pets. Viserion is the one that gets taken by the Night King when Tyrion warns her not to go. So then Rhaegal is the one that hasn't been touched yet. So just interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I didn't. Yeah, perhaps.
I'm putting that. Piecing this together as we just read it.
Right. Okay. So the one we're looking at is Rhaegal, right? Let me see here.
So characters' names who end in AL in A World of Ice and Fire. Now I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
Well, I think Sam listed off a couple really good ones.
He did.
I actually was thinking of, so I thought Jorah, and I was like, that doesn't work. And then he said Jorah the Andal, and I was like, okay, because I literally thought that as you were reading. I was like, oh, let's just go through the men who are near her and try to think about that. And that was a good one.
Right.
Let me see here. Let me sit up here and look at some of
Yes.
these other names real quick.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Barristan the Bold Barristan Selmy doesn't work.
But this would also be
Dario
someone.
Naharis doesn't work.
This would need to be someone who is like connected to the dragon and who could be a dragon rider, or it just. I mean, the other way Sam's presenting it, it's just also important men in her adult life. You know,
Right.
so it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be a man because he mentions Val. You know,
Right.
So that was pretty cool. You know, the mention of Val being associated with possible, dragon / Targaryen, heritage there. So I don't
Right.
know.
Okay. Well, real quick. I just want to kind of go back to this idea, where he was talking about, this was just kind of an interesting part here. I just want to pick this out again. This is where I question why Rhaegar, why not Aerys, about the part of why does Dany kind of cherish Rhaegar when she didn't know him, right? He was dead before she was born.
Well, yeah, that's a lot of people.
That in itself is something actually quite interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe she knew her king was, or maybe she knew the Mad King was mad, and you would have to remember, she would be hearing almost all of her parents of her lineage through Viserys, and Viserys would probably have a more preferable view of Rhaegar than he would the Mad King, because the Mad King just, Viserys is kind of this like, like you should just never lose. The Targaryens are the best, and like maybe he views his dad as the one who actually cost them the kingdom. I don't know.
I actually think, and not to, so I actually think it might be the opposite, and here's why. Just because, in all the reading we've been doing, remember how close the Mad King kept Viserys and like almost kept him away from like Rhaegar and stuff. So you could,
yeah, that's true, maybe.
But the same thing that you're saying is that like maybe he thinks Rhaegar was, from the Mad King's perspective, was the one who failed, with the Battle of the Trident, and so you're onto that, that whole piece that like he is very much like, I don't know, like Targaryens can't lose.
So then why is she so fond of Rhaegar? Because it seems like she doesn't really know a lot about Rhaegar until Barristan Selmy kind of tells her about him.
Yeah, except for maybe just the way in which she was. Because I'm thinking back to when they went into exile.
Well, we do know that Viserys tells her that had she been born earlier, maybe she would have wed Rhaegar.
Oh. Okay.
Or maybe she views it as like, oh, maybe he could have been a nice brother as opposed to Viserys who's a jerk,
Mm-hmm.
So it's this kind of, and the Mad King is crazy. And so she's kind of viewing it as, here's this other family member that I had. And, it's kind of like this, you never, you don't know what you have. Like, so it's this kind of, she's building up this image of him in her head.
Yeah. Gotcha. The other point that Sam is making, though, is that she may not be the Mad King's daughter,
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, and just the fact that she could speak High Valyrian, she's very quick to learn Dothraki, as well as the Gascari tongue too. So, she's interesting in that regard, and so her upbringing there might be more there than we realize, in her early years. Those years where like you really can't remember a whole lot, and so she's thinking back to the door and the lemon tree and things like that. So there may be things there. There also could be some magic involved here too, man. There could be like a mental block that Dany has.
Right.
Is
it possible that Rhaegar is her father?
I don't know.
Is that a theory that's ever been explored? I mean,
yeah. Actually, I think somebody brought it up actually in our show. I think it's been talked about here before. Just that idea. So, and I think I did kind of dismiss it a little bit, but now that I think about it, and you look at when, so she's born in 284 at Dragonstone, and I don't know. maybe okay. So something that could have happened is the idea that her actual mother maybe did have another one of those. She had a lot of stillborns, and she had a lot of issues with childbirth. So maybe that happened, and they also smuggled Rhaegar's daughter away at the same time. Maybe it's one of those things. So I don't know. It could be though. It could be that I think Rhaegar's clearly old enough to be her father.
Right.
So there's that.
Right now, I'm looking at a Free Folk Reddit post.
Oh boy,
Free Folk is kind
anything
of like
goes.
the wild. It's anything goes. So it's show, it's Game of Thrones. I think I'm looking at a theory right here where this guy's. I think that this is a more common theory. Is kind of what the people are saying. Is there? I guess there is a theory that is that Dany is the daughter of Rhaegar and Ashara Dayne, which I find quite interesting. Yeah, that's I guess a common theory that I am completely unfamiliar with.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Unless Ashara was.
Well, we'll get to that.
Well, I'm just thinking Night of the Laughing Tree stuff. Okay. Yeah, not sure, but I think we'll have to. We'll open up to discussion, see who people think might be that suffix, and that suffix. Sam's right. Yeah, al does. It's like an adjective meaning like pertaining to. When you
different right words. Here. This is interesting. The first Daenerys we see in history was the daughter of Nerys Targaryen. The mother of dragons kind of looks like her. He's saying Daenerys kind of looks like her, just like World of Ice and Fire pictures and stuff like that. The first Daenerys was married with the Prince of Dorne, Meryn Martell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's that connection. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That was one of the big things, like the alliance that sort of brought Dorne into the fold. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Dany was conceived during the last month of Robert's Rebellion. So,
right.
I suppose that's people have kind of timelined out when.
Yeah, and it would be interesting though if Daenerys and Jon were actually brother sister, because then that would make them more kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In line with that Targaryen thing. I mean, it's
Huh. That's so interesting. Just I don't know. There's a lot that's. All of that, everyone who is born between the years of 280 and 283, or 284, just shrouded in mystery. A lot of it could go a lot of different ways. Theorizing with, so I don't know. I like it. All right, I think we'll leave that for the rest of the group to kind of discuss and work their way through. But
yeah,
I haven't given the dragons that much thought, to be honest with you. So
I'm like sifting through names here, trying to find somebody that would work, and I don't see anything. Well, but as Sam the Hammer said, he just kind of want to open this up to the group. That'll pick it up there on Facebook. So
yeah, I like the idea of Grey Worm and the Night King. Both we haven't learned their names, and Val's a good effort.
There could also be a character introduced in the books. Sometimes characters in the show are really like 2 or 3 characters like combined, right? And there may like the Dario Naharis kind of character in the show, like could be another character that we haven't met yet. Like he may not be everything we see in the show, and it may be more than just that. So maybe there is another person she has to leave when she comes over.
Yeah, right.
And then all of this ties into the idea Sam was kind of saying that Gur was foreshadowing with these prefixes and suffixes.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Right. So, okay. Yeah, no, great theory, Sam. So, all right, Sir Ezra, you want to read the next one?
This is Lady Paula, and honestly, this is just some good food for thought, for everyone, because she pretty well lays it out here, spells it out for us. It's a good theory, and it's one that I think it's hard to find one that hasn't been out there, but she's dedicated to this, and I think she mentions that during her reread, more and more evidence just kind of keeps coming up to support this theory. Okay, so she also sent us her origin story, and Lady Paula, we will read that in one of our upcoming main shows. So on the Monday show, I just finished listening to your Follow-Up Friday episode containing the Ned plus Ashara theory. Here we go. I cannot explain how much and how passionately I disagree with this theory. So she's coming after us. And you know, we present all theories, Sir Matt. We just put them all out there. So, and this is a good one. So we're gonna throw it out here. I'm a dedicated crusader for a theory not heard much and not discussed much. And she's right. It's not one that actually people keep coming, back to. It's not like super popular on YouTube. There is a YouTube video out there about, but this is not something that comes up often, if that makes sense. So let's see. But this theory has more evidence. It's hidden, cleverly hidden evidence, and makes more sense to me. And that theory is H+A = M. And so that would be Howland Reed plus Ashara equals Mira. So, okay. I heard this theory a few months ago, and evidence is slapping me in the face on my current reread. Long story short, Mira and Jojen Reed's mom, known as Diana, is Ashara Dane. Trust me, there's so much in the book series to support this. Okay, so Ashara Dane is actually Mira, Reed's mother. And here we go. So she's got a couple points here, 1 through I think 8, which we're going to go through. Number 1, Ashara. We learn later from Barristan Selmy, gave birth to a daughter that died shortly after birth, and Ashara flung herself from the tower in grief. I'll get to why this didn't happen in a minute. For the timeline to work, she would need to have gotten pregnant at the Harrenhal tournament. See number 6. So we'll get to number 6 in a second. So for this all to have worked, Ashara would have been pregnant at the tourney of Harrenhal. Okay. We also know that Ned was too shy to ask her for a dance at the tournament, so his older brother Brandon had to ask her for Ned. This doesn't sound like a man that's going to father a child that weekend. Sir Matt, good point.
Yeah.
Good point. So if he's too shy to ask for a dance, is he going to, basically, get with her out of wedlock and father a child that night? Not so sure about that, right? So there we go. Point number 2. We learn about Brandon asking for her to dance with Ned in a weird way. Mira is telling the story to Bran, and she is telling it through the eyes of her father. Howland was watching Ashara, watching her so closely that he remembered all her dance partners. Have you ever done this? No. He was crushing on her super hard and watching her every move. And so we have a quote from the book.
Good point.
Yeah, we have a quote from the book here. The Crannog men saw a maid with laughing purple eyes dance with a white sword, a red snake, and the Lord of Griffins, and lastly, the quiet wolf. But only after the wild wolf spoke to her on behalf of a brother too shy to leave his bench. So point number 2, basically, that he's super shy and he's not likely to, or I'm sorry, point number 1, that he wouldn't have fathered a child because he was so shy, and then point number 2 here is that Howland Reed is watching her so closely that he remembers everyone she danced with. So obviously he has a crush on her. You know what I mean? So he's intrigued, and that's makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Okay,
yeah.
So moving on. Point 3. I'm quite sure Ned was keeping more than one secret. There's a passage in A Game of Thrones that says he had lived his lies for 14 years, yet they still haunted him at night. So lies with an S.
Plural.
Plural, yeah. More than one lie. So there's that. Okay. Point number 4. Here we go. We're getting into it here. Supposedly Ned and Howland were the only 2 adults to survive whatever went down at the Tower of Joy. And then they went to Starfall to return the sword to the Dane family. This isn't a super big part of my theory, and more in tune with your Arthur Dane is Mance Rayder theory, but isn't it odd that they were welcomed at Starfall? If you were the person who killed the Sword of the Morning, how likely would it be that you would come away from Starfall intact? intact,
Yeah.
and with a wet nurse for baby John, and with a future Dane family member named after your dad or your yeah. So Ned, Edric Dane, known as Ned. So
Yeah.
okay,
Real quick.
yeah,
Real quick on that last point. It is something else people need to remember. And now we've talked about this. We've mentioned this a couple times. The difference between the kind of Dornishmen, like there's the sandy Dornishmen and like the stony Dornishmen. But even still, the Dornish are kind of known for being, they use like guerrilla tactics. Like they're kind of like aggressive.
Yeah.
In a way, like revenge heavy. Like we see that a lot with the House Martells. So yeah, I do find it unlikely that they would just be like okay with the fact that you just killed, like our our son,
like the Sword of the Morning. You're right. Well, and the other bit there is that the kingdom is not completely settled yet, and Elia Martell's I don't know if it's known at this point in Starfall, but like her children are killed. She is killed. She's raped and murdered.
Right.
That can't be. That's not good. So there's definitely some issues, and things grow very cold with Dorne over the years.
Yeah.
So it was really the Targaryens that kind of kept them. It was those marriage alliances and then that treatment that they had. Put a Baratheon on the throne. Who cares? Definitely something, brewing there with the Dornish. So good point. Yeah, really good point. Okay, let's see. So with Dane. They're welcomed at Starfall, interacting. They leave with a wet nurse, and they even name one of the future Dane family members after Eddard Stark. So, but Howland Reed was with him, perhaps going to claim his bride. Question mark. That's a part of point 4. So Howland Reed is there. Maybe he's going back maybe he's just accompanying Ned, or he's going there to claim his bride. Who is at this point pregnant or has had the child or what have you. Maybe he doesn't know. Maybe she, was at the tourney, got pregnant. It's Howland Reed's, child. So okay,
right.
Number 5. Sure, Howland and Ashara weren't married when the child was conceived, making people think that Ashara and the Dane family were dealing with all of this shame. But the Danes are Dornish. If we have learned anything about the Dornish, is that it's not that big of a deal. So basically, having conceived a child outside of wedlock, excuse me, that's not really, they have that. I guess it's not super frowned upon or super shameful. If that makes sense. Is that kind of what she's saying?
Yeah.
Sir Matt?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Point number 4. What are we on here? 6. In A Clash of Kings, we are told that Meera is almost 16, making her 9 or 10 months older than Jon, who turned 15 at the end of A Game of Thrones. If Meera is Howland Reed's daughter, and she is almost 16 in A Clash of Kings, and isn't the daughter of a woman from the tournament, Howland Reed would have needed to do the following things. So basically, if you don't believe that, so I guess if you think that Meera isn't his daughter, then the following things would need to be true. Right? Is that what she's saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, because if Meera, let me read that again. If Meera is Howland Reed's daughter, and she's almost 16 in A Clash of Kings, and she isn't the daughter of a woman from the tournament. So sorry, there we go. And she isn't a daughter of the woman from the tournament. Then here's what Howland Reed would have needed to do. Okay, so here I see where she's going with this. The idea is that basically for Meera to be Howland Reed's, daughter, for this to work out, and for her to be 16 years old, like when was Meera Reed conceived?
Right. Right. Good point.
Right.
Point. Yeah, because I think she's kind of teased being around the same age as Jon.
Right, but she's a little bit older. Yeah, so she would have had to have been conceived, either at the tourney of Harrenhal or directly after, within like a month or so afterwards. And so here's the point that Lady Paula is making, is that Howland Reed would need to do the following things. A, immediately leave after the tournament. B, ride like the wind back to the neck, basically make a month-long trip in a week. C, make someone meet someone and fall in love. D, reconnect with someone he was betrothed to, but remember that he was at the Isle of Faces for an entire winter and hasn't been in the neck since then. E, get married and father a child within a matter of about a day or two. If all the above could be conceivably done, then that, then it's, kind of possible that he could have had a child. Basically, Lady Paula is saying those things can't happen. Like he doesn't have the time to
doesn't have the time. It doesn't work out.
He's not betrothed to anybody that we know of. He's not in love with anybody. When he's at the tourney of Harrenhal, he's actually, if there's anybody he's falling in love with, it's either, Lyanna or possibly Ashara. Those are the two kind of females there that people are, entranced with. So, why would he? But I mean, maybe there's just more that we haven't been told. Maybe he was betrothed to somebody and hooks up with whatever. But she's basically saying that this is not possible. It's not possible for him to have, ridden all the way back to, his homeland, found someone, gotten married, and had a child. So it has to be a lady from the Harrenhal tournament is kind of the way this is shaping up. So in number 7, in Clash of Kings, when Mira and Jojen show up at Winterfell to present themselves to Bran, they were presented as Lady Mira of House Reed with her brother Jojen of Greywater Watch, and that's a quote. Mira is presented as the lady and heir, which should definitely have been Jojen if we follow the normal Westerosi tradition. Isn't this more of a Dornish thing to do, to bestow inheritance to the eldest child, even if that child is a girl?
Yeah, good point.
So that's pretty cool.
Good point.
Right. And number 8, last point, I promise. Would tall, gorgeous Ashara Dane be attracted to Howland Reed? So, Ashara is known to be beautiful, and she's sought after by all these different guys. So how is it that she could be attracted to someone like Howland Reed, right? And she says, yep, the descriptions of the Crannogmen in the books almost exactly match the descriptions of the Dornish. Both shorter than average, both dark, quick, sneaky-ish, black hair, small eyes. This is what she grew up with and is comfortable with. Barristan Selmy thinks something different, and although I had other opinions of his reliability during this narration that I won't go into here, there is a really good nugget in A Dance of Dragons when he is reminiscing about his unrequited love for Ashara. Quote, she wants fire, and Dorne sent her mud. So she wants fire, and Dorne sent her mud. So, and then she says, tell me, who do you know that's associated with mud? Right? And so that would be the Bogs, and the Crannogmen and all of that. So, so here we go. So why this elaborate 14-layer cake of lies? Because of Jon. Both Howland and Ashara, and probably Arthur, knew that Jon was the true heir, and Ned was determined to conceal this. Ashara's suicide was a ruse, and she took off with Howland Reed to live happily ever after and keep secrets forever. Howland plus Ashara equals Mira, which makes me think that Mira is or has a huge upcoming role to play, at least in the books. In this scenario, I can't help but to think of Lord of the Rings, when Éowyn, who we thought was only there to pine after the hero, ended up killing the Wraith King with the I am no man line. We all know how Gurr is a huge fan of Tolkien. So again, sorry for the lengthy Raven. I hope it wasn't too rough to get through. Thanks, Lady Paula. Oh boy, Sir Matt. Thoughts?
Wow. First of all, thank you very much for that well-crafted, well put together Raven.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading. I'm on the Mirror Read page. That's the thing is there is this really we don't know it enough about Howland Reed yet. Even in the show, he's just kind of there, right? And it says we know that Ned was almost killed by Arthur Dayne, except for Howland Reed.
Yeah.
I like this theory a lot, actually, because I actually do kind of think there is some kind of connection with Jon and Mira. whether it was that they're, they in this case they're not related. Like some people think they're twins, and then Howland took Mira back. Because Mira is kind of written off in the show, right? Like at the end, like Bran's just kind of like, okay, see you later. Like, that's
yeah,
kinda
right.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know. She's described as kind of looking like her. Mira is kind of described as looking like, sometimes she's like similar to Arya, stuff like that. So I definitely do think there is some mystery around it. Whether she is, half Stark with that, like the Rhaegar is, she's Jon's twin sister or whatever. Or I like this one too, because it does make a lot of sense actually. Is what she was, Lady Paula was saying with Ned. Yeah, like if you're a Chardane, like Ned is like too scared to talk to you. Why are you going to want to dance with him?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that doesn't make sense.
Right. I'm wondering how, it's what interaction did Howland Reed have with Ashara? And so at Harrenhal, he's watching her. He remembers every person she danced with. So that's good, right? And so
Right.
there's a chance, there's a possibility that he could have interacted with her there. Most likely he in some way, whether it was speaking, watching, staring, whatever. Because imagine too, everyone's coming out to dance with her, and I guess she sees someone who, if she is attracted to the way in which he looks, and that's what she's used to and accustomed to, and she's up at Harrenhal, and she sees someone else who kind of has those features and looks that she is accustomed to, as I said, or likes, standing off in the corner, just being real kind of discreet, but keeping an eye on her and stuff, but not coming over and talking to her. I think that might be more interesting to her. If everybody's coming over, like flirting with her and falling over their own feet to kind of dance with her and stuff, but then there's this guy who's keeping tabs on her in the corner, that is kind of interesting, isn't it? That's something you want to go over
for sure
and inquire with. So it's totally left. Oh, there's nothing really that says that that they actually talked or had any interaction at the tourney of Harrenhal. But then you do have this follow up at the Tower of Joy, where where Howland Reed is allowed to go up to see Lady Ashara. And the other thing I can't get over is like, if there is more going on here with Sir Arthur Dayne, if I just thought of this, Sir Matt, why would Ned take some of his own men down there to the Tower of Joy, have this confrontation with Sir Arthur Dayne, and his other men get killed, and then he is makes these elaborate plans with Sir Arthur Dayne after he's killed his men. His men actually might be alive, and they might have taken guises. They might have actually, have their own mission, their own, thing in which they needed to do to kind of conceal and keep things, secret. If Jon is the true born, heir. So I don't know. I was just kind of thinking about that because Howland Reed, even if they were, whether they're killed or whether they're kept alive, those others that went with Eddard Stark, Howland Reed is allowed to travel back to Starfall. He goes with him and accompanies there. So there's another possible interaction between Ashara. So I think,
yeah, and something else that's interesting is, I'm reading this right here, quotes about Mira. The woods were full of frozen streams and cold black lakes, and Mira was as good a fisher with her three-pronged frog spear as most men were with hook and line. Just thoughts of Bran about Mira. There's another one I'm trying to find where Bran is talking about how he thought the Cranach men were supposed to look, and he says like, they should look more. I think something about like he thinks more of Mira than he does Jojen. And then I'm looking at Jojen Reed and or their mother, right? Their mother is Gianna Reed, I guess. And there's literally nothing on her.
Yeah, right. That's
So.
Well, and that yeah. It just, the structure of the name too kind of fits at the end. It seems like it's a
Mm-hmm.
similar structure. If she were to
Right.
have a name change, but she's not described at all, So there's that. And it says, that Ashara killed herself because of a couple things. I think in a Storm of Swords it says because of a broken heart, and then in A Dance of Dragons it says a stillborn child, and then in the Game of Thrones it says a stolen child, and then in A Storm of Swords it says grief over Sir Arthur Dane's death, But so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 different things that people are claiming in different books as reasons to why she died. So, it's definitely a mystery. So, but
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. Good Raven though. That is a very good Raven.
Mm-hmm. Well, and here, man, I wonder. So think back to the Night of the Laughing Tree, right?
Right.
Mira Reed is telling Bran that story, and she refers to Ashara as a maid with laughing purple eyes. And I just kind of wonder too about this Night of the Laughing Tree situation too. If there's not more to that, or where Ashara was, in relationship to Howland Reed there at the tourney, not just the feasting and the dancing, but like, did she see that take place? Did she have anything to do with the Night of the Laughing Tree? I don't think anybody's proposing that she is the Night of the Laughing Tree, but wow, that'd be something, wouldn't it? So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to look. I'm trying to look this Howland plus Ashara.
Here's something cool too: is that she Lady Paul had brought up that Sir Barristan Selmy regrets losing to Prince Rhaegar during the tourney and not being able to name Ashara the Queen of Love and Beauty, right? So he wanted to, so because he also thought she was beautiful, and so it is just a little strange that if she, of all those different people, she would pick Howland Reed. I guess the guy who, maybe he's not being shy. He's just is who he is. He just doesn't. You almost wonder, does he think he doesn't have a chance? Is he just hanging out, just doing his own thing, and is just something? He's something different than what she's encountered.
So right here, Barristan Selmy, who loved Ashara, remarks that she wants fire and Dorne sent her mud. You can make a poultice out of mud to cool a fever. You could plant seeds in mud to grow a crop to feed your children. Mud would nourish you, where fire would only consume you. But fools and children and young girls would choose fire every time. Considering how many things have been wrong about this so far, is he wrong about this too? Did Ashara actually choose a mud man? I found another person talking about this similar theory. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if it wasn't that she chose, that she didn't. Maybe she didn't choose Howland Reed, but that he was chosen for her.
Right.
Because that'd be interesting. But then how would that wouldn't make a lot of sense then, because how would the conception of Mira Reed take place? So.
Right.
I don't know. Is it likely that? I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at the Howland Reed stuff as he's there at the tourney. Whether he wasn't with anybody, was he, at the time?
No, I don't think so.
Not that we know of, right? Let me pull up his page real quick here, but I don't think he was. So, anyways, sorry, just a little bit to look up.
I'm looking. Excuse me. Looking here. Right here, we have no Knights of Greywater, no Master of Arms, and no Maester, and all of them of that. That is true. Somebody says, and finally, more than once, Mira and Jojen stress. This is from a Clash of Kings. Mira and Jojen stress that there are no knights in the neck, almost as if they want to make sure no rumors get started. My father taught me how to fight. We have no Knights of Greywater, no Master of Arms, and no Maester. This is what we're saying. And yet, for all of that, both of them are remarkably educated and like pretty decent fighters.
What the heck?
With the, yeah.
What the heck?
Right.
So think about why they wouldn't have maesters, right? because there's a lot of people who believe there's that conspiracy, or that they can, who knows what they're going to send in their ravens. They don't trust that order, right? And if you're trying to be secret and keep a bunch of things, if you're carrying around all these different secrets, as Lady Paula put it, live happily ever after and keep your, with those secrets for the rest of your life, then yeah, you wouldn't want a maester around nosing through your business and reporting back to the Citadel and keeping, because that's what they do. They keep journals. They keep journals
for sure.
on that stuff. And
they have conspiracy theories. That's what the maesters do. They're conspiracists.
Yeah. So, here we go.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, did you find something?
Well, no, you go ahead first. I was just gonna play. I was gonna look over some of this stuff in his youth, his time at the Isle of Faces in Harrenhal. But you go ahead and go first there.
Oh, I'm reading a lot of the people on this thread. This is actually a thread on the forum of Ice and Fire, which is on the wiki.
Yeah.
And some people are. I mean, a lot of people are seeming to say, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Some people, let me see, some people who are saying no. This person is saying the Barristan Selmy part of the argument I just read makes the most sense. I always think that the exact opposite when Barristan makes a comment or observation. I like the irony of Ashara possibly being attracted to mudmen, where Barristan Selmy thinks the opposite. Okay, so this, let me see here. This person is talking about the Master of Arms and no educated. This person is saying, I didn't find it odd. I also don't know if we can determine exactly how educated they are compared to other nobles of the same age. They don't have maesters or knights or masters at arms, but they do seem quite capable and have intelligence. So this person is just saying maybe the Crannogman are not different or lesser than we think, just because they don't seem to have that type of stuff.
Right. Yep. So real quick, while we're talking about Howland Reed, is it okay if I just read from the wiki sort of what his about his youth and things? Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So this is all according to what is told to us by Mira. That basically her father grew up hunting and fishing, climbing trees, learning the magic of the Crannogman, and that is in A Storm of Swords, chapter 24, Brand 2. And during that time, they're talking about the Isle of Faces. After he reached the age of maturity, bold Howland sought additional knowledge. He paddled a small-skin boat down the Green Fork, evaded the twins at night, and visited the Isle of Faces in search of the Greenmen. He stayed at the Isle all winter. So that was the reference that Lady Paula had made, is that he was there that whole time. So then, but that doesn't really tell, when is the age of, well, let's see what this says. The age of, wait a second here. The age of majority? I think I read that wrong, so let's just take a look here and see what that is. So the age of majority for both boys and girls, 16 is the age of legal majority. From that point, they are referred to as man-grown or woman-grown. Okay, cool. So there's a little side note there. So at that age, he takes off for the Isle of Faces. So anyways, he left the Isle of Faces in 281 AC, the year of the Fall Spring, to observe the great tourney at Harrenhal held by Lord Walter Went. As he walked across the tourney field, he was attacked by 3 squires, younger but taller. Lyanna then comes to his rescue, and finds out that the Crannogman, that he was a vassal of her father, Lord Rickard Stark of Winterfell. The girl chased the 3 squires away with the tourney sword. Afterwards, she brought him to her tent, where he was introduced to Brandon, Eddard, and Benjen. Lyanna insisted that he attend the feast that night held at Harrenhal to mark the start of the tourney, so Howland accompanied the 4 Stark siblings. When they recognized the 3 squires who attacked him earlier, Benjen offered to find Howland a horse and armor so that he could avenge himself, but Howland gave no answer. Although he wanted to take revenge, he feared making a fool of himself, as he was no knight. Howland prayed at the God's Eye to the old gods and was given a place in Eddard's tent for the night. So, on the second day of jousting, a short mystery knight dubbed the Knight of the Laughing Tree entered and entered the joust and challenged the 3 knights whose squires had attacked the Krenigman. The three knights were defeated, but the mystery knight only demanded that each knight teach their squire honor as ransom. And so that's basically that's basically it there. That's all we're kind of given.
It is interesting though that Howland Reed does spend all this time at the Isle of Faces.
Oh heck
just
yeah!
Before the turning at Harrenhal.
Heck yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
So could he have been contacted by future Bran?
Right. Yeah. We're gonna have to do some timeline timeline stuff here. It says 281 when the tournament takes place, and so, what is he? Is he 16 at that time? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So in or between. So he's born in or between 260 AC and 265 AC at Greywater Watch. That's according to the wiki. So even they're not quite sure. So see the Howland Reed calculation. I love the calculations on the wiki. So okay, any other thoughts, Sir Matt?
Okay. No, we can turn that over to the group and maybe come back to it next week once we see what people are kind of saying about it.
Okay. Honestly, Lady Paula, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a very well put together Raven. It has my gears spinning. I'm gonna have to do a lot more research on this.
Yeah. I've been meaning to finish those docs that I started with the timelines and just sort of like piecing together, when and where everyone is, how old they are, who they could have been with. That whole time period. It's kind of crazy. In the early 280s.
The thing I still kind of find the most interesting about Jojen and Mira Reed is that, it's like their father sends them like immediately. Like when they show up and they're talking to Bran and like, yeah, once our father heard like the news, he sent us.
Yeah, it was like a sign. It was like a sign. He read like a sign.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah. Well, and it was also Jojen's dream, right? So that was also one of those things where like when he came to him with that dream, he said that it's time. Like he was waiting for that to happen, and then boom, you're meant to go here. So I don't know. I love the Reeds, and I love Mira Reed. Actually, I think the way she's described in the book, I think she's gorgeous. So I was really kind of hoping there would be something there with her and Bran, or maybe she comes across Jon. I was kind of hoping for that, but I don't know, man. So
Yeah.
But all right, I think that's. Okay. Do you have anything else there? Any more follow-up stuff?
Nope.
We good? Okay. All right. Yeah, well, that's it.
That's fine. Okay. We just had. Sorry, I had a couple here. Just things from the group. These are just kind of shorter things. I just kind of wanted to talk about. Sir Jared Gebhardt had commented in the group. He said, "Finally got around to listening to Monday's show. I angered the host with my doubting of the Hound. In all seriousness, you guys are right, and I'm willing to admit I was wrong to question the Hound's badassness." And then he posted a meme and said, "Here, hopefully I can make up for it." First of all, I mean, it's okay, and you could always kind of, yeah. We just saw it in the group, and we were like, "Oh, okay." We're always just joking around, but I commented back, I'm like, "There's nothing to forgive."
There's nothing to forgive. Yeah. Can I also say it's actually kind of awesome when people say, if someone were to attack, Beric Dondarrion, I don't know what I'd do.
Well, I attack him all the time.
I know you do, but that's you.
But, yeah.
But man, I tell you, like go for it. Let's have some fun. Go after my favorite character.
Yeah. So. All right. Here's another one real quick. Chris Walters. Maybe we call this like our lightning round here. Yeah. The Beric Dondarrion round. The lightning round. Yeah. So. If the dragons keep growing at the same rate as they have, this is from Chris Walters, who was our trivia winner last week.
Yep.
Not this week, but last week. If the dragons keep growing at the same rate as they have between the previous seasons, will the two living dragons be much larger than Viserion during season 8? I wouldn't think that a white would keep growing.
Oh.
Good point. But I think in the show they're done growing.
Yeah,
I think they're kind of done.
But that's an interesting
That is a good thought.
Even in the book, like if that were to happen, the rate at which they grow with that, we almost need them just to be fully mature, so that way.
Right, and I think that's probably going to be the case.
Yeah, because I like these three are kind of like, I think because of the absence of the other dragons, like they are going to be, like the dragons of old, so
right,
which is awesome.
Mm-hmm. So, no, good point. So, all right, here we go. Eric Bingle. The White Walkers enter the kingdom under the wall through the Expanse tunnel system and wreak havoc. Daenerys travels by the shadow and through the Grey Waste, around the backside, and down the wall from the far north. When she gets there, her dragons won't pass the wall, so they use the horn to tear it down. This allows her to rescue Westeros. Just a thought. That's kind of in response to the Fire and Blood chapter.
Right, okay. So, yeah, basically saying that the Whites enter the kingdom, that like they don't tear the wall
tunnel
down.
System.
Right,
right.
Yeah. Okay, and then Daenerys travels by the shadow.
She goes around. Yeah.
And through the Grey Waste. Okay. Around the backside and down to the wall from the north. That would be epic. That'd be crazy. When she gets there, her dragons won't pass the wall, so they use the horn to tear it down. Okay, so it's almost like the wall is like this barrier. Like if you're on this side of it, you can't go south of it. If you're on, the south side, you can't go north of it. That's kind of what he's in his mind there. So it's like this barrier that you either got to fly around, or you just can't fly over. It's something. So they got to use the horn then to tear it down. That's cool. I like that. So
yeah. So no, that's cool. And it's interesting. It's all interesting. This whole wall business now, like this new piece of information.
Yeah.
Is Dany going to be able to fly over the wall with her dragons?
Right. Yeah.
If she can, then it means she has a stronger bond, which is cool because that opens the door for a lot of things. If she can't, or if the wall's even there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, good point.
Yeah, anyway. Good thoughts. I'm glad that all that stuff is taking off in the group.
Yeah, I say we keep the lightning round going there at the end. I like that. It's good.
Yeah, the little little lightning rounds here. So
yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's kind of it, Sir Ezra.
Yeah, that's awesome. We had some good ones, some good discussion, things that, as always, we have to follow up on and think more about. So it's crazy. They just come too fast. I love it. The thoughts and the theories we can't track down. Too many. It's fantastic. But feel free to send us your Ravens at btkcast@gmail.com. Also, if you haven't joined the group yet, time to get in there. People are, posting thoughts and threads. What do you guys think about this? Have you ever thought about that? We're trying to, in our own way, in our own community, sift through some of the stuff that has already been presented out there on the Reddits and the other wiki forums, but at the same time, come at it with a fresh set of eyes, and maybe we'll find something new. And as we get Fire and Blood, just kind of continue to add to our knowledge and maybe find different ways to theorize and think about how that book and how the histories can be the parallels that we'll see in the series. So
right.
So, but all right, guys. Yeah, thanks.
All righty, guys. Well, to close this week, in the words of House Forrester, iron from ice.